Hello, hello, hello. I hope we're live. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Hopefully well. I had to change. Here we are. Sorry about this. I had to change the title of the stream at the very last second because it seems Bart Kay won't be stopping by. I'm not sure. As I just checked, it's only 3 a.m. where he is. In New Zealand, that is. So I'm not getting my hopes up. I think he got the time zones mixed up. Anyway, if not today, maybe next Saturday we can do this. I was hoping to talk to Bart about all this YouTube drama he's been engaged in. Ask him who he is, for those of you who don't know, how he got into carnivory and why he chose to pick on all these vegans, these poor, innocent vegans who never did anything to anybody. Why he's seemingly persecuting them and looking to, well, correct their bullshit. We all know what it is. Anyway, I don't know if you guys checked out Bart Kay's appearance on Primal Edge Health yesterday. I was able to catch some of it. It was pretty good, I have to say. And we found out a little bit more about Bart and all that other good stuff. But anyway, seeing as Bart is not going to be joining us, if you're listening, watching, and especially if you're vegan and you want to hop on and chop it up, that would be great. I would really appreciate it. Send me an email to, well, I'll show you where. Give me a second. This is my email address. Feel free to send me an email if you want to hop on to Carneval at tutanota.com. I don't know how some of you guys who do this live streaming, I guess it takes quite a bit of practice. I don't know how some of you guys do this stuff because I get lost. There's so much shit going on. Anyway, I guess I'm not all that computer literate. I know there's a program, OBS I think it's called, that a lot of people like and use, and I've been looking into that, but I really haven't had the time to really learn the program and how all that stuff works. Tutanota. I don't know. What is it? It's just an email address. I don't like Gmail. Was looking for something that's a little bit more secure, even though I'm not really sold on the fact that it's supposed to be exactly that. Whatever. Anything's better than Gmail, right? So I went with this different email server, and that's my address right now. I'm going to post it in the comments in case some of you guys want to jump on. I see a few. Dr. Stehammer says that OBS is very simple to use and works pretty well. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I just have to learn it. So I'll get on that whenever I get some time, which is, well, never. Anyway, seeing as there seem to be a lot of critics out there, and that's fine. I have no problem with being criticized. But anytime I drop a video and, you know, I'm not too kind to the vegans necessarily, there seems to be some criticism. And anytime I receive what seems like valid criticism or something that's interesting at the very least, I invite that person to come on a live hangout and, you know, chop it up. But I have yet to be taken seriously, I guess, or my offer to be taken seriously by any of these shit-talking vegans. So go figure. Seems like they don't really believe the shit that they say they do. Or at the very least, they don't want to stand behind the word. It is what it is. Hopefully, Vegan Gayns decides to back up all his words and all the stuff that he's been spewing on his channel over the years, and he steps up to the plate and debates Bart Kay about the evils of cholesterol. Thank you for good Happy New Year wishes, Yasmin. Same to you and yours. If you guys have any questions, this is a very impromptu hangout. I don't really know where I'm going to take it, but if you guys have any questions, feel free. I'm monitoring the chat a little bit, so if anything comes up, you let me know. But long story short, for those of you who don't know what's been going on between Mr. K and Mr. Gayns, they've been trying to set up a debate about cholesterol, looking to get to the bottom of it, because over the years, as it tends to be the case with vegans, Vegan Gayns has been demonizing cholesterol, basically towing the mainstream pharmaceutical industry, if you will, party line. Do I bow hunt? I wish. No comment. It's illegal in Ecuador, but I'm in contact with somebody who makes bows, and well, I'm interested in target practice. We'll just leave it at that. But there's definitely, if it were legal in Ecuador, there's definitely some little animalites, as they say around these parts, out there in these mountains that you could hunt if it were illegal. There are deer, there are pumas. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to eat a puma. There are also yamalas. That's a local Native American word, I suppose. But it's like a kind of a guinea pig, kind of a big rat looking thing. It's supposed to be very, very delicious. Yes, Primal Edge Health. Why don't you come on, Tristan? Send me an email, and because I don't believe I have your email address. I can send you the link on Twitter too. But either way, if you send me your email address, or you email me at this email here, I will send you the link gladly. I think Bart Kay hasn't quite. I think he mistook AM for PM, thinking that he could come on right now at 9 a.m. my time, which is, I think, 3 a.m. his time. So, yeah, that's not going to work. Shoot me an email, Tristan, please. I get lost. There he is. Look at all that. Guess I have to unshare. Sorry about that, bro. Anyway, I hope I didn't give out any. Oh, well, his email address, I think he makes it publicly available, so I don't think it's a big deal. But anyway, I'm sending him the Hangout link right now. Hopefully he could hop on and say what he got to say. Bald man bad. Hashtag bald man bad. Oh. Hey, it is what it is, man. Many, many years of plant-based diet will do that for you, even if you do eat some meat. Hello, David Bennett. How's everybody doing? Anyway, Vegan Gayns has been basically talking all that nonsense that cholesterol is going to your fat, raises your cholesterol level, blah, blah, blah. And RK more about the latest cholesterol, which definitely seems to buck the mainstream dogma. And it's to say that we know everything there is to know about cholesterol, but the truth is a lot more complicated, a lot more complex than what we try. That has never been scientifically proven. What has been proved is that high insulin is one of the for heart disease in walls, which leads to atherosclerosis, which leads to heart disease. So that has been shown that high insulin levels in your blood will cause arterial injury, which can and tends to develop into atherosclerosis, and then heart disease follows, as stated. So cholesterol does seem to play a small role, but we're not sure how causal the role is. But it doesn't seem like it plays a primary causal role, because once again, it's never been demonstrated that cholesterol caused as a primary cause heart disease in anybody. What has caused heart disease or atherosclerosis more precisely is at the very least injury to arterial wall, inside of your arterial wall, or the so-called endothelial cells. So that definitely causes heart disease, and researchers have been able to demonstrate this in experiments in the lab. They've studied this. So we know that heart disease can potentially be caused by high refined carbohydrate intakes. If you eat a lot of sugar, white flour, rice, processed, just basically processed carbohydrates, you will likely spike your insulin levels, and chronically high insulin will cause damage to your arterial walls, which, cholesterol will later show up at the site, perhaps to help heal this injury. Or there's some evidence that oxidized cholesterol or damaged cholesterol, right? Not really cholesterol anymore, will contribute to this problem a little bit, but it has never been shown that it actually causes it. So the picture is very complicated. It's still being debated, it's being discussed. And from what I understand, Vegan Gayns and Bart could definitely hash it out a lot better, because both of them are, or at least they say they're experts in these fields. Did I say send Tristan the email? I think I did. Yeah. Those two guys, they know a lot more, basically, is what I'm saying. They know a lot more about this stuff than I do. And it would be very interesting, in my opinion, to hear what they have to say and see if they could get to the bottom of this. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to the debate. Personally, I think it's going to happen. I know Vegan Gayns has had some issues with his channel lately, and that's too bad. I don't really dislike the guy, to be honest with you guys. I don't know. There's something about him that definitely makes you want to hate the guy. But there's I don't know if he's genuine. Basically, the image that he puts forth, I just don't know if that's necessarily him. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. He's definitely a complex character, and I don't hate the guy. And even if I did, I don't wish that anyone's channel should get shut down for merely, expressing their opinion. So whatever trouble he's experiencing right now with his channel, I hope all resolved, that he can come back and be able to, even if it is bullshit, spew his bullshit, because freedom of speech is of utmost importance, at least in my opinion. And so long as he's not outright threatening anybody or slandering people or doing any of that stuff, there are some limits on free speech, obviously, as there should be. I hope he could figure his shit out and come back to the vegan YouTube community, fitness and health, whatever you want to call it, community, and keep talking that shit. Because even though I don't find them interesting in the least bit, I don't find them entertaining at all. Some people do, so hey, sent you anyway. Yeah, I got it. Anyway, I'm gonna check the bald man back. The chat room. What's going on? Back connection. Ah, fuck me. How's the connection now? What's up, Alex? How you doing, dude? Yes, vegan Gayns is from Canada, unfortunately, people say. Where you at, Tristan? It's better now. Yeah, my internet connection is whack, so if I'm downloading a page or something, I'm browsing. If I'm browsing or something, it tends to screw me up. Or if I'm screen sharing, blah, blah, blah. Hasn't gotten my email. I'm going to send you a link on Twitter then. I don't know why that is. No, I didn't get a new mic. I've always used this mic. It's a decent mic. It's nothing to brag about. I think it was like $20 on Amazon. I know Tristan hates Amazon, but if you want a link, I could do that. I could send you a link to. I'm just gonna tweet the link to you, Tristan. I don't care. So there it is. I just tweeted it at you. I don't know what's up with this email I've been using. I guess I gotta figure that shit out. Anyway, if reduce the wrenches, somebody says, you want one? 515? Anyway, yeah, I don't know what's up with that email, but if vegans happen to find, or anybody for that matter, if they happen to find that link that I just tweeted at Tristan and they want to come on, hey, the more the merrier. I don't give a shit. I'm not scared to talk to people, so it is what it is. Damn, that's a lot of wrench. We're gonna have to unmess somebody, and I don't know who. That's too many wrenches, I think. Anyway, they do have an odd vibe. Who's that? David Bennett says that cardiovascular disease is caused by carbs, not cholesterol. The liver manufactures over 300 milligrams of cholesterol every day. The endocrine system cannot function without it. There's more. Yeah, I mean, I don't completely understand the cholesterol conundrum, if you will, but it's definitely complicated. It's definitely complex. And if anybody has been getting to the bottom of it lately, it's definitely Dave Feldman and Ivor Cummins, two cholesterol researchers who are on YouTube. They make videos talking about this stuff. A lot of it is way over my head because I don't have a scientific background like they do. But sometimes they dumb it down for us normal folk, and it makes sense when they do what they say. So I encourage anybody to definitely. You guys are funny. I'm reading the comments. I definitely encourage people to check Dave Feldman and Ivor Cummings, at the very least, out on YouTube. They do a lot of good work. They get attacked a little bit by vegan community because those guys like to push, the big pharma nonsense, and while at the same time, ironically, pretending to be, the persecuted ones. But I think we have Tristan here with us. Is that correct? Can you hear me?
Hello, boys and girls.
Maybe you're muted, no?
Let me see.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
My bad. I can hear you now. How's it going? Tristan? I hate Google Hangouts, man.
Hello, boys and girls.
Hey, I can hear you now. I don't know what the
This
hell
is
is
Bart
going on.
Kay. No, I'm kidding. I can't do a New Zealand accent.
pretty well well, not the other day. It was an old video, but you reposted it, I think. That was pretty spot on.
That was my Durian Rider. Durian Rider. My Durian Rider accent is just kind of like an autistic Cockney mixed with Yosemite Sam, or no, Sylvester. Remember Sylvester from Looney Tunes?
Yeah, dude, you totally got to do like another video. I don't know. He's been a little butthurt lately, apparently flagging down videos. So I don't know. I don't think he'd care though if you did that again. It was funny.
That was yeah. Yeah. So we're on a stream and it's named Vegan Gayns and Bart Kay. So maybe I should be Bart, you should be Vegan Gayns, and we can debate.
Oh goddamn! Yeah, I should change the title. But I'm not very. It's cool. I'm just very illiterate with all this stuff. I just recently started doing live streaming and whatever.
This is why it's fun though, because it's like radio.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like when you do it, I think you use OBS. I'm not sure, but you figured out how to pull up all these images and do all that other stuff, and
just OBS. Yeah, OBS it's really easy, but you got to kind of have some bandwidth.
Yeah, that's another thing. We gotta upgrade our internet, but over here there's no competitions. Looking to fiber optics, but allegedly squirrels chew through it, so it's down as of late.
Yeah, we just got upgraded to fiber optic, and it's pretty nice. We have like 20 megs.
Well, either that or 5G, right?
5G, yeah. 5G. I'll have to invest in some EMP devices if that comes around.
Yeah, allegedly there is fiber optic here, but I don't know, some rat squirrels have been messing with it again. It's kind of wild. And this is what they tell me. How true this is, I don't know. But
yeah,
anyway.
You're breaking up a little bit. You got your connection right now. I could tell it's shoddy. It gets, I guess with Google Hangouts or maybe just with your connection, it gets like tinny. You sound almost like it makes it sound robotic.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop downloading the porn I was
damn it, dude. The grandma porn.
Yeah, totally. How did you know? Anyway, I'm just gonna keep I'm just gonna close everything out, hopefully.
You get nice spurts where it's really good audio. Every once in a while it cuts out. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, Bart Kay, man, I don't think he's quite figured out that we're males, depending on which way you go.
Well, it's funny because I was gonna have Bart on the stream yesterday at noon, and he thought it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, yeah, so he was a couple hours later than we expected to come on my stream too. It's hard to link up with people in Australia and New Zealand. They have weird time zones.
Yeah, totally. And I could only really do it in the morning on Saturday, so I'm not easy to get a hold of either. So I understand. But anyway, it is what it is. Good. But I thought we got to know Bart a little bit better. I find that people, when we make our videos, like we kind of, I don't want to say we're fake necessarily, but it's kind of an act to a degree sometimes.
You're talking to a freaking camera, dude. You're talking to a freaking mirror. It's
weird.
Like, you're talking to a damn mirror. Of course, it's different than when you actually talk to someone. That's why I always like having people on. But it's hard to find people to come on that you like talking to. But Bart was pretty cool. I like talking to Dave Feldman, Bart. There's a few people. I'm always down to have you on too. It's just there's a few people that are really easy to talk to, and then then there's some people who are not so interesting to me. Yeah,
definitely. So hopefully Bart and Gayns can figure their stuff out, and I'm interested. Like, I agree with you that Vegan Gayns is kind of a clown, and it's gonna be bullshit versus science essentially. So there's definitely that dynamic. It would be a lot more interesting to have Bart talk to someone who's not as biased as Vegan Gayns.
I mean, Vegan Gayns, he's kind of a straw man. Like what he does is he runs his debates on his channel in a very specific way. Somebody jumps in. It's an interrogation, right? Yeah. Using a very specific tactic. And then he has a few diversion tactics that he resorts to automatically when he almost has to admit that he's wrong. And he just browbeats people, and he debates dummies. Like, let's be honest, he's debating a lot. He debated me. He debates idiots.
Low hanging fruit, huh?
Low hanging fruit like me. Yeah, I would like to see Bart. I don't know. It's like I feel like he's a much more intelligent and well versed guy. It'd be cool to hear him debate somebody like Dave Feldman or something. Not even debate, but just discuss some more in depth stuff, right? Rather than taking on, uh, an incel from Toronto who's married. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I agree, and I take no sides. But when I listen to Dave Feldman and then I listen to some of what Bart Kay had to say, they definitely don't agree on everything. So it would be
Yeah,
interesting, right,
exactly.
for them to talk a
Because
little bit.
all these guys who've studied cholesterol more in depth, they all have different theories on what's actually going on. Some of them are kind of agnostic on what's happening. They just know that it's kind of bullshit what we've been thinking has been happening since the 70s. But some of these,
That's pretty clear, I think. As far as what's truly going on, I mean, it's all theories at this point, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
like Dave's theory though. I mean, it's obvious that cholesterol is involved. It's moving all throughout the body. Fat's moving all throughout the body. You slaughter animals, you see what fat does. Every
yeah,
single organ in the body is connected through these networks of fat. The kidneys and the suet in an animal. It's like in a ruminant animal. Your body is communicating using fat constantly now, and we're looking at cholesterol, and I feel like I don't know. It's like you're taking a telescope and looking at the side of a mountain sometimes when people look at certain things going on in the body. When
yeah. And this stuff that we call cholesterol is encased inside of a boat, as they say, a lipoprotein, and
yeah,
it's not. We don't even the nomenclature isn't even perfectly correct, so that tends to confuse a lot of people. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely. And another thing I wanted to say is the fact that people like us who eat we're basically ketotic, or we just eat a lot of fat and very low carb at the same time. Our metabolism is going to be different, and you should expect to see more lipids in our blood, right? So the old standards that are established by looking at high carbers, how the hell does that even apply to people who are on a ketogenic diet? You know what I mean?
yeah. Same. I mean, well, RDAs are kind of a similar thing where it's like, all right, well, you need this much of this vitamin or mineral. And then when you look at what these vitamins and minerals actually do in the body, they're cofactors and enzymatic reactions that are constantly happening and communicating with different parts of the body. So it's like it's so much more complicated than this, 200 milligrams of blank vitamin, because these things are in constant flux in their usage. And the I don't know, metabolism is just amazing. I feel like anybody who's out there acting like they know exactly what's going on with this stuff is just foolish, and that's what these vegans come across as. In the low carb community, there are interesting, nuanced discussions going on all the time about what the hell is actually happening here. And
And a
yeah,
lot of debate. People don't necessarily agree on everything, I mean,
nothing. I mean, there's so many debates. There's so much. I mean, there are people who um, get quite annoyed with each other's positions on these things within the low carb community. I mean, veganism's the same, right? You got like durian riders, like Sprite and bananas, and I don't
who
know,
takes that guy seriously? I mean, does anyone really take that guy's
dude.
dietary advice?
Durian Rider is a scholar and a gentleman. I don't know why you're gonna defame that poor man. He's been
Yeah.
defamed enough.
I never watched any of his videos, to be honest. I saw little bits and pieces, remixes, and I'm just immediately turned off. But that's just me. I
You
mean,
don't like watching Durian Rider do biceps curls in the mirror at different angles, doing like 10 different angles within 30 seconds, and pursing his lips at himself. That's content, man. That's good
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure I saw him doing pull-ups with his feet on a yoga block.
Swinging his feet, yes, swinging his feet up to do leg lifts. Do you see that video?
Yeah, I mean, he's shredded, man. The dude's a
Dude,
beast. What
the
can you say?
guy, the guy is a world-class athlete. Let's leave it at that. He's a world-class athlete and a gentleman. True
Cob the fuck up.
God the fuck up. He's one of the funniest guys. That guy, and dude, Nature Boy. Anybody? We got any Nature Boy viewers in the chat?
Oh
Europe,
man.
Europe or no? Come on, peace reflections. Because anybody been watching what's going on with Nature Boy lately? This shit is crazy. It's like this. It's not even about veganism at all now. It's just about like polyamory and this weird he gets these chicks pregnant, and it has these accusations that he's spreading diseases intentionally among his cult members. The Nature Boy thing's even better than Durian Rider.
Drama. I've never been suggested any of his videos. Even like I get suggested all kinds of vegan content, but for some reason algorithm doesn't like him. I'm not sure what it is, but the only reason why I know he exists is because of you, and that's all I need to know, to be honest.
Dude, it's hard because I found out about Nature Boy like over a year ago because there were people. See, I've been watching too much Nature Boy. There were people, not there was people. There were people in the town that I live in that were kind of connected to him, and
Oh, really?
people started trying to come over, and there were some dudes walking around like shirtless with like tattoos and stuff, and like giant Ankh gold chains and shit. So I was introduced to Nature Boy by people that like somebody that went to his cult and knew him. So I became fascinated with the phenomenon.
Is he in South America or Asia?
No, he was in Costa Rica and he got kicked out. Yeah, and then he was in I think he's in Mexico now or something.
I could understand why there would be some spillover. We're not that far from there, and it's kind of a similar vibe sometimes too.
Exactly. There's new age people around. That's like the new age little hotspots. They attract all these types of people. It's because the ley lines. You're on the dragon line.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. But the Nature Boy thing got crazy. Like he had these chicks. Well, he was in this polyamorous thing, and he had these different women that were pregnant, and they were saying that they were pregnant with these other dudes' babies, but a lot of people were making videos that it was Nature Boy that was knocking all these girls up. He was claiming that he cured AIDS and herpes. And there was like this dude,
he's got the magic stick, huh?
Dude, Young Pharaoh. This guy, Young Pharaoh. I don't know if anybody in the chat has any idea what I'm talking about, but there's this dude, Young Pharaoh, and he does like raps and stuff, I think. And he's a conscious community guy as well. I think he's kind of like a We Was Kangs type guy. And he makes these videos against Nature Boy and just rips him. And he got these private messages of Nature Boy saying that he cured herpes and HIV, and that the girl who had herpes and HIV, she had a baby. And he was, bragging about that in this private message. And then Young Pharaoh points out, or maybe it was somebody in the chat pointed out that Nature Boy was making videos talking about how he eats the placenta.
Okay.
And then he showed the video, and Nature Boy is like zooming in on the placenta. Kind of like if you're zooming in on a nice steak before you eat it.
Hey, wait a minute, that's not vegan.
And this was the chick. Well, dude, don't be racist.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, but that's kind of that's where I'm at on Nature Boy. I was caught up on that Nature Boy tea.
Yeah, speaking of eating the placenta, our goats will do that after they give birth. They immediately eat the placenta. So are they really herbivores? Makes you wonder.
Right. Yeah. I think all ruminants do.
It's
Cows
just so fascinating how we have these classifications, right? Herbivore, omnivore, carnivore, when there's no clear-cut line what's what, and it seems like
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trans vegan.
Oh, come on now.
Dude, I can't eat a vegan diet, but I identify as a vegan.
Some people take you seriously, bro. Like,
some people think I'm for real, huh?
Yeah, they think you're for real when you say that stuff. I've had some people complaining, saying that they unsubbed you because you've gone completely mad.
Yeah. Well, it's a price you got to pay for coming out in this world. It's 2018, born this way.
Whatever, man. I don't know. I mean, like, we have these ducks also, which I looked up. Like, what do these ducks eat so that I don't feed them something I'm not supposed to? And they said, well, they're herbivorous. Most of the websites that I went to say they're herbivorous. But when I throw ground meat to the chickens, the ducks partake in that just the same. So lies.
Chickens will eat dead rats. Chickens will eat, we send them the bones after we eat. They'll eat, if you eat a T-bone, it's got some collagen left on it, they'll pick it clean.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't subscribe to macroevolution at the very least, but like chickens are fucking dinosaurs when you look at them. They sound like dinosaurs, and I mean they eat what I would imagine a beast that size would eat.
Yeah, I mean, all birds are pretty crazy. They're
Yeah,
just they're very similar. I mean, all of nature, it's very an interesting thing. Birds are like lizards for sure.
totally.
Then they have lizard skin.
How are your chickens doing?
They're good. They finally laid more eggs in the last couple of days. They were doing a little bit less egg laying. We had like 3 eggs a day from 10 chickens for a while. That was annoying. But right now we're getting 6 a day. So that's cool.
See, what happened is the weather changed, and well, same over there, I suppose. And when there's these drastic weather changes, they get a little bit under the weather, and their egg production drops. We had, out of like, how many chickens do we have? Jesus Christ, I don't even know, like 50 probably. We were getting
Wow.
like,
And you don't sell any of your eggs. That's funny. You have 50 chickens and you're not selling any eggs. Where do they go?
we sell some eggs, but I eat a lot of eggs, man.
Damn.
I've been eating up to a dozen a day, and then we'll feed them to the dogs, and it is what it is. But lately, because the production is back up, yeah, we've been selling some eggs because goddamn, that's a lot of eggs. But I'll eat between 6, half a dozen to a dozen eggs a day, like nothing.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll easily eat 6 eggs, but I just do the yolk. I don't like the white. I just put the yolk on.
Well, now that I'm experimenting with this raw meat diet, for the most part, don't get me wrong, you saw me cheating anyway the other day.
Yeah, I was gonna try to show you guys, but I couldn't. I didn't have my camera or a phone with me.
Dude,
Or
I
you would have
fucked
been.
myself up, man.
I would have doxed him. I would have sent it to Vegan Gayns in private message.
I was eating ice cream.
Yeah.
And then Tristan like rolls by on this motorcycle. I'm like, oh shit, don't tell anybody. Yeah, we were at the gelato shop.
You just told everybody.
Yeah, I don't care. No, I don't give a shit. But let me tell you.
know.
Let me tell you, for all of you keto people out there, if you've never quote unquote carved up, don't do it.
Dude, if you eat honey, it's fine. If you eat like a few tablespoons of honey, it's like nothing happened. That's what's funny.
It's the refined sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that other stuff. Who knows what else?
Like I pulled a muscle the day after, something that used to happen to me a lot. And then I go carnivore for the most part. And all of that goes away. Inflammation, like muscle aches, goes away. The day after I eat a lot of refined sugar, I pull a muscle, the muscle I used to always pull. All of a sudden, I got a zit on my face. I never get that shit. I'm feeling suboptimal. It's not worth it, man. At least for me, it's just,
If I think if you overeat on like fats and meat, you can still get the same stuff. Because I've noticed, because I was able to gain like 8 pounds on a carnivore diet within like 2 months. So obviously that's not all muscle, right? When you gain 8 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to gain 8 pounds in a couple months. Some of it was some muscle and then some of it was fat. But the way I did it was I pulsed honey in for like maybe a week. And it's weird because I almost have to force it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honey's weird. It tastes really good. You feel good when you eat it, but you self-limit just like with other foods. So I was doing like cream and honey to get the calories up.
Yeah.
Then I discovered high meat. And if you want to increase your appetite and really digest food a lot better and assimilate it better when you're eating a lot of meat, I think high meat is for me at least, one of the best tonics for digestion and increasing appetite. So it's like taking digestive bitters or something. It made me so hungry. So I was able to eat 3 meals a day for a little while, which usually I eat 1 or 2, usually like 2 meals. One can be bigger than the other. I was able to eat 3 meals for like maybe 4 weeks in a row. But at the end of it, I had like a few pimples and I was, just noticeably less energy, right? Because I ate 3 meals a day. So less physical energy. And I could see if I kept that up, I probably would have like worse digestive issues and stuff. But we had weather changes as well. Like you were talking about the chickens getting off, right? Like when these weather changes happen, the fluctuations in the magnetic field or whatever's going on,
pressure, like the pressure will just drop. So like you feel like shit for no reason sometimes.
Yeah, and then when you go to town and everybody's like got the same cough or everybody's got the same sniffles.
Don't get me wrong, like I love the weather where we live, but it's a harsh environment. It wouldn't, like if you just take a picture of out here it looks just so like idyllic and perfect.
You're like,
And the
look at
way
that pretty mountain. Okay, go climb that fucking mountain right now and see what you
no,
feel like at the top.
it's harsh. It's really harsh. Our humidity sometimes drops like below, I want to say 15%. Like it's brutal out here, man. It's those days when you guys see Tristan drinking like a whole bottle of water in one live stream.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, I'll have another, and then I'll go do a sauna, and then I'll drink it. You know, it's like the atmosphere here is weird, and people here they use the river to regulate. You know, like they'll go to the river and they'll wash their clothes, and then
Yeah.
and they'll just kind of kick it in the river and they'll lay in there for a little bit. So there's things you can do, but if you're not getting in the water, if you're not like sweating or doing something, these fluctuations definitely get to you. But the Ecuadorians are freaking robust, huh? Like they'll just go work, you know, every single day. And some of them never show it, like the campesinos who really work their ass off.
They're used to this stuff. I mean, they were, bred doing this, and I'll never forget when we first came and we went looking for land, and you got to walk up all these mountains and shit, and there was this like 65-year-old man, tiny little guy, and he was running up these mountains, and we're just like, okay, dude, you need to slow the fuck up. Like we're coming from California, like like zero.
We're wearing Birkenstocks, buddy.
No, 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 no. No, I
I'm
had
just kidding.
my
Carnival doesn't wear
camp on.
Birkenstocks, guys. I'm not trying to.
I had my boat shoes on. Come on. No, but like coming from, sea level to where we are here and not being used to it, like, and this guy's 65 years old running up this mountain, man. Yeah, they're tough people, man.
Well, I mean, the way that some of these locals, some of my buddies, the way some of these dudes climb trees freaks me out.
Yeah.
So they tie a machete to their foot and then just climb up a eucalyptus tree, 40 feet up, shimmying up half the thing, and then just start kind of chopping away at branches.
Yeah.
No ladder, nothing, a string and a machete. And just like, dude, Augusto, chill out.
And what do they eat? Pork, chicken,
Dude,
and
they'll eat
rice.
some pork and some rice.
Yeah, totally.
Some of them use vegetable. A lot of them, like the fat ones, use vegetable oil. The clever ones use butter.
They're killing them with this Western diet now. I mean,
Dude, you see, they get dude, it's really sad. When you think of corn, what's up with this corn stuff, man? The corn in there. I feel like the Dulles brothers went down to Mexico in the 1930s, and they're like, let's figure out like what is the export product from here that gets people the most metabolically damaged and fat. And they're like, okay, we found this population that eats a lot of corn, and they're all very round and they're all very slow.
Yeah.
And what they did was just start exporting corn all over the world because they found like one pocket. I mean, it's so ridiculous how much like diabetes and obesity there is all over the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the type of corn that they used to have here was like purple, red, all kinds of different size of grains on the same cob. Like it was diverse, and it was their native corn that, they were used, not only were they used to digesting it, but they would ferment all of it into a chicha.
That's what I was going to say. They're fermenting that shit. They're not just eating it. They're not grinding it up and making tortillas. They're doing stuff with it.
They drink corn beer, essentially, is what it is, right? Chicha, as they call it here. It has different names.
That's what they would do, dude. Have you read some of the Chronicles? Like
no.
Ciesa de Leon? I'll give you a book. You'll like it. Yeah, it gives you a lot, man. We could talk about it in some streams too, because it's fun stuff. Like the habits of these people were fascinating. On the coast, they were never able to conquer. The Inca Empire was never able to assimilate the coastal tribes because they had such an abundance of food. And they couldn't trick them into their trade scheme, right? So there were other areas where people would have, feasts and famines. There are areas where they would have herds of vicuñas and llamas and what's it called? The other ruminant that's really prominent, the other camel-like creature.
Llama.
The llama. No, that's the alpacas.
Alpaca, yeah.
They're beautiful animals.
Mm-hmm.
They would have herds of those, 50,000 head in some of these valleys, and they wouldn't slaughter. In the Inca Empire, you weren't allowed to slaughter the females. They could slaughter all the males.
Mm-hmm.
So people think that like South Americans were mostly vegetarian.
Yeah, right.
because they're exporting quinoa and a few of these other crops, which are destroying South America.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just insane though. So they wouldn't be able to slaughter the females, and they'd slaughter all the males. And then when the Inca took over a lot of these valleys, they assimilated them into this empire, so they'd have more strict rules. So the rules would be in some of these areas, every few years they would do a hunt, and all the royalty from all around would come and grasp hands. 10,000 men. I think he might have said 100,000 men sometimes. Now that I don't know if that was you don't know if some of this is exaggeration or not, but the claim was 100,000 men grabbing hands around massive valleys that are full of these animals and just closing in on them like a medieval battle, and just having a bloodbath slaughter of all the of these herds because they would get so big. That's how much.
No, they definitely ate a lot of meat, and even when because they were known as good farmers also. But what they would do is they would dig these swales into the mountainside where it would basically be like a mound of dirt, and then it would be like what's it called, a moat of sorts with water in it, and another mound and another moat, and it would just alternate like that. And they had their own aquaponic system where in these little swales there were fish that would fertilize the corn that they grew and the quinoa that they grew in
Oh,
the
that's
mounds.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of
So
the locals they still have trout. They keep
yeah,
trout. They feed the
totally.
trout corn.
Tilapia, which is an import, but uh, high up in the mountains where the water's cold, that's what they had, right?
Yeah,
Trout.
no, up here in Yabarado they've got trout. My
Yeah.
buddy Augusto, his family's got some trout. Now they take river water, they siphon it
Hmm.
off into a hole with a plastic at the bottom. But that's
Yeah,
obviously how they would have done
my
it.
neighbor has some ponds too, but they got to bring in that cold water because the canal water is just too warm and it'll
Yeah.
kill the fish. But yeah, definitely so even in these remote areas where maybe obviously they were hunting, but they even had fish. Like they definitely ate meat, and I think this is universal. That was our number one choice. Everything else was a backup. If we couldn't get enough
Everything else
meat,
is
we
backup.
ate everything else. Yeah.
Everything else is if I have to.
I mean, you've gone hiking in these mountains where there are no fires, where people don't, they just graze animals maybe, but they don't grow anything there, right? And like looking at the native plants that are here, you would starve. And this is like subtropical area where you would imagine there's a lot of plants, edible plants growing here. No.
Nope, there's not. And even in the jungle, man, in the jungle, they're so careful about what they eat. They'll eat very like it's not like you're just swinging around in the trees, slapping
No.
hands with your
And
vegan
it's all
bug.
seasonal anyway. All the fruit, like, uh, you know, grows in maybe like a 2 to 3 month period
Yeah, and
naturally, right?
who's gonna get that fruit? You or a fucking bird? Come on.
Exactly.
These birds get we have mulberry trees that give a lot of mulberries, but the birds will eat most of them.
Yeah, it's just insane. These mythical like vegetarian tribes. It's if you were vegetarian or vegan, you didn't last very long back in the,
No, it means you're
thousands of years
starving
ago.
or you're on your way out. Like the neighbors who've got plenty of meat in their valley are gonna come over, take your women and some of your children and slaughter the men. It's
Yeah.
like this the vegan thing in the animal realm, like more animalistic world, none of these people are vegan, man. Dude,
No.
these tribes in Africa there's still tribes who just recently, not still, but who just recently were kind of converted out of their practices of eating their firstborn baby. It's like
Oh, the
these
shrunken heads of the what are they called?
the Shuar.
Shuaras. Yeah. Jesus
Have you
Christ.
seen those in the museums?
Yeah, I've seen those in Quito and
Cuenca.
no, just in Quito, the middle of the world museum, whatever the hell it's called.
How many heads do they have there?
They had probably 8 on display. I don't know if they have more, but
Did they have the
they're the
eyes?
size of they're the size of your fist, man. You're like, that's a
Yeah,
human head.
and the hair's still on them, and they sew the eyes shut. They're like, fucking close your eyes.
My neighbor was telling me when there was a war with Peru over here in the 80s, and he went to the military. He went to fight. He said that they would take these natives or savages, as he calls them, because they knew the land, they knew the jungle, and they were very good with the bow and arrow. They didn't even like use guns, and they said that like if you upset them, and even though you were on the same side, right, the Ecuadorian side, but if you upset them or something, they would put a fucking arrow in your back, basically. If you did something they didn't like, they didn't give a shit. They would just put an arrow
Yeah.
in you and disappear into the jungle, and that was all over. Like, they're savage, these people.
Yeah, man. No, South America is crazy. The history of South America, and when you look at the Andes or you look at the Amazon, what percent is actually populated?
Oh, I mean, when people say the world's overpopulated, I just laugh. I mean, if we really were like desperate and wanted to, we would take all of our animals, go up the mountain, and disappear, man. Like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, if you can only convince people that live in cities that the world is overpopulated.
of course.
And that's the people who you see online telling you that you have to stop farming, that you have to stop having animal husbandry, and we need to grow your meat in a lab.
There are all these people over here, at least in my valley, trying to sell these properties that are like 400 hectares. You know what I mean? Because it's just not profitable for them to, and they just don't want to do it. They don't want to graze cattle there. But like, there's all these open spaces, properties that are 400 hectares
That have
know,
never, and
they're just not used.
and they're in the middle of nowhere, and there's no roads to most of the Andes.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you know how hard it is to maintain roads in mountains for cars? This car thing is a luxury. They've only had cars in my valley since the 70s.
Yeah, you drive up to like a certain point, and then you're on horseback for 2 hours up to like a day. And some of these properties, how many heads of cattle could you have on one of these properties that's 400?
A lot of these people, they just have cattle up there that they never touch.
Yeah.
Like, there's hay muchas vacas ahí.
And they just go slaughter one once in a while. They bring it down and sell it for slaughter.
And yeah, but that's toxic, bro. That's toxic meat. We're gonna make it in a laboratory.
Man, I'm sure you do the same, but like, I get these less than $2 a pound fucking T-bone steaks. Best steaks I've ever had.
It's so good. I like the ribeyes though. The ribeyes are a little better for me, but I'll try.
I don't even know where to get ribeyes. I don't really care to, but like,
Maxie, my friend.
Oh,
yeah. The Black Wrapper, and they have cowboy steaks, like half, maybe an inch and a half thick. Some of these are so good.
Yeah, I mean, the only qualm that I have is that it's really lean meat because they take the fat off here. They don't really appreciate the fat. But then you could buy the fat for like 25 cents a pound.
Yeah, you get a big bag of all the fat and the trim for like nothing.
But like, it's not marbled, right? Because it's not grain fed. It's not massaged like Kobe beef in Japan. So these cattle, they walk every day, all day, every day. So like, they're fit, right? And they're lean for the most part. But it's
gamey. I guess people would probably say it's gamey meat if they try it here.
If it's an old animal, it'll be a little gamey, but
those livers get gamey when they're older animals. I like an older animal's liver much better. All these people eating calf liver, like that shit tastes like a soggy tomato, dude.
It doesn't have much flavor at all, no.
I like the older animals. They have this bitterness and this chocolatiness, and they get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, especially they ferment really well too. Donkey liver does.
Dude, speaking of which, we tried 3 bottles of high liver yesterday. Jessica and I, I'm about to have some more. They're so good. From December 2nd, so it was pretty fast.
And remind me again, do you fridge it or do you have it in like a
fridge? And then a few times I rotate them into the cupboard for a day.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to experiment.
It speeds up the process too. Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what's weird? I had 3 jars and they're all from the same liver and they all taste different.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been keeping the animals and the kinds of animals all separate, so I would understand why it tastes different. But to hear that from the same animal, it'll taste different. I mean,
same liver.
What the hell is that all about?
I have no idea. But they're not that different. And one of them we tried in the morning, and then we tried in the afternoon, and it tasted different in the afternoon than it did in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know. This stuff is like still like very much like black magic to me, but I'm into it and it works, man. Like you were talking about digestion. When I switched over to raw meat off the bat, like I got a little flatulence. I never get that with cooked meat, right? Or partially cooked meat. But when I went straight raw with eggs and whatever, yeah, I got a little gassy, but then I started eating this high meat and it helps me digest raw raw meat better. Maybe I was lacking some kind of bacteria. I don't know. I don't care. It seems to have made a difference, definitely.
Oh yeah, and then you look at how your dogs want to eat. Like they'll wait till the stuff gets real funky. You know, do your dogs have your dogs ever killed guanacas?
No, but well, one time they wouldn't eat that because it's that animal stinks. But when we give them meat or like little entrails or whatever, and they're just full, they can't eat anymore, they'll take a piece and they'll go bury it. Every single one of our dogs does this. They'll go bury it somewhere, and then they'll bring this stinky ass piece of meat or pelt or something like a couple months ago, and they just like gnaw on it, lick it, and just
Dude, do they roll on it in that one spot on their neck, like on the front of their neck?
Yeah. We gave one of our dogs a nickname. We call it Poop Stripe because she'll find like rat shit and roll in it. It's like fancy colognes, and then she comes back all happy, like, look at me, I'm stinky. Yeah, we're like, what is that shit on your neck? God damn, what did you do? Because you know,
yes, right. You're like, Jessica, you gotta do it this time. You gotta clean it up.
Yeah, you host the dog off. Because you know how like animals will die around here, and people they'll discover them 2 days later when the meat is already funky, and they're like, fuck it, they'll just leave it there.
Yeah,
the dogs just have a feast, man.
they roll in it.
Yeah.
They love it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's when you first hear about high meat, it's like, yeah, these are people who are trying to kill me.
Yeah.
But then when you first try it, it's like, whoa, this is something very different.
And to be fair, it is different because it's not exposed to all the elements. It's a controlled environment, you know, and there's no maggots in it unless you want it to be. So
dude, Derek Nance, he was like, yeah, some of the best high meat I've ever had maggots in it and was exposed to flies. I mean, that to me, I wouldn't want to eat it if it had maggots, but he said it was one of his favorites had maggots in it. So there are people that are way, way beyond our craziness.
I've just seen so much of that with animals because they get attacked by these bot flies that they'll lay eggs inside the animal, and then these maggots come out of the animal. It's just grossed me out every single time. So maybe one day. I doubt it, but
how do you give them that vaccine to keep that out?
No, we don't give them anything. But we found that now that we got mostly white animals, the fly leaves them alone for the most part. Once in a while, they'll attack them. I don't know if it's the color of the animal.
White privilege, dude.
Yeah.
Check your privilege, animals. You guys
dude, animals are, at least goats. I can't speak for all animals, but they're the most racist of all. Like when we introduce a new goat, for example, and it's not white, they beat on it all the time. They will they'll kill it. Yeah, but when we put a goat in that's white, they'll beat on it a little bit, but it assimilates very quickly. If it's like black or brown or red, just a different color, it almost never gets accepted.
What if you were to put a cow in there? What do you think they'd do?
Oh, they'd freak the hell out.
They try to kill the cow?
No, it's too big.
The cow would kick them and could damage them pretty hard.
No, if it's a calf, then they probably would attack it. But a cow, no, they respect big animals. They're scared.
I saw our bulls fighting the other day. It was pretty.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was just a brief battle. One of them kind of went at him and he gave him a little scratch. One of them's got no horns at all. The other one's got some nubs.
Your animals or no?
Yeah. We're going to get rid of them and get different cows.
Yeah.
Not because they're fighting. Actually, we were going to eat one of those bulls because we got one bull that's a Brahman mixed with a brown Swiss, and it's nice. Like, it's pretty. And then we have this other bull that's just like this Holstein, Criollo, whatever, you know. Like,
is Holstein like A1 or something? Like not,
yeah, they're A1. I don't know what Brahman are. Brahman are pretty popular in Asia. They get big. Yeah. The dark one that we have, he's black. He's beautiful. So we might keep that one and get rid of all the other Holsteins and get some brown Swiss cows.
And they have a hump, kind of like a Hamel, but closer.
He's got like a little hump on the back of his neck. Yeah. And he eats, man. These other ones, you see them eat, they're kind of like pussyfooting around, grabbing a little bite here and there. He's like a lawnmower. He just sits there and kind of just left to right.
Totally. So what are you going to do? You're going to eat them? You're going to sell them? Or
I don't know. Sell them, hopefully, because we can't eat them all.
Yeah, that's a lot of meat.
Too much meat. We don't have, we'd have to get a bunch of refrigerators.
Well, hey.
I want to get rid of them now because I want to let the grass grow longer while we get rain. for when we have cows that we can actually milk. It's like I look at the grass and the land as the resource. The cows aren't even a resource right now. They're just keeping it to where we can walk around on the land, to where it doesn't get too, the weeds don't get too crazy. But they'll eat it all fast, and we have to supplement a little bit now with like that sugarcane stuff.
Don't you? Because I find that this happens, but don't you get this like certain sense? I won't say it's pride, but like sense of security when you look at all this meat walking around your property, and you're like, "Well, the world could end right now. I think I'll be okay."
Yeah, but then you
Do
get
you
on the
get that?
internet and you see these vegan abolitionists are going crazy right now, dude.
Oh
These people are
God.
talking about forcing lab-grown meat on the whole world. And I've seen these bot accounts on Instagram. They might be bots or they might be people, but just putting talking point after talking point, like on Dr. Ken Berry's page, this guy with like, it might be a real person, I don't know. Just was comment after comment talking about, I would eat lab grown meat. It's probably going to be cleaner and better than the meat. There will be no pesticides in it and this and that. Just all this
Chill.
gibberish.
How the hell will there be no pesticides in it when they're still using soy to feed
Dude,
the
it's called
culture?
clean meat. So the way he was doing it was like, are you just marketing right now? Like, because that's how marketing works. You have bot armies. That's not
Yeah.
marketing is not on TV anymore. Marketing is through bot armies on social media. People don't realize how it actually works now. People are fucking dumb. They
No,
don't
I think
realize
a lot of the big vegans, the bigger vegan channels, I think they're sponsored, man. They
they
got
do.
it.
They have a lot of sponsorship.
Yeah.
Mike the Vegan, you see his video about lab meat, put it out yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
Lab meat's the future. Hey, Mike the Vegan.
Oh, I would pummel that guy, man.
I just got done twisting my Jerry curls.
God, I can't stand that dude. He's just so dishonest, man.
Dude, he lives in the Agenda 21 little like stamped out. What is it? What do they call those houses? Those miniature houses that people buy?
Oh yeah, I forget. I know what you're tiny homes.
Yeah, he lives in a tiny home with like a 10-foot fence around it and sits there making videos about how we need to stop people from having animals on their land. These people are more dangerous than the fucking Taliban. They're the tofu Taliban.
Yeah, it's just so offensive to me, man. It's like, mind your own business. You want to be vegan because of how you feel, that's fine, but stop telling other people what to do. It's so wrong. I don't get it, man.
I lost a lot of my audience by even talking about this stuff. They're like, well, you just hate on vegans. Look, if you're that dumb and you don't see what I'm really fighting against,
Yeah.
you're off the fucking playing field anyways. You're just a soccer mom on the side of the game, and you never even seen a game before. You don't know what goal means what. You don't know who's got the ball. You don't know what the fuck's going on. So don't come and criticize me. Bounce, unsub.
Yeah, thankfully a lot of people are waking up, because even though I haven't been making videos about this stuff very long, when I first started, people would just be like, why? Why do you care about these vegans? They're crazy. Like this is
Right.
meat eaters, right? And they're just like, why do you pay them so much attention? And I'm just telling you, this is bigger than what it appears, man. This is a global agenda, which isn't to say that everybody up top agrees with it, because
No.
I think
It's
there
just
is a power
flows.
struggle up
It
there,
goes
you
with
know?
the flow. The flow of
Yeah.
this all is going towards this Maoist revolution globally, and it's the same thing with the social justice warriors. That's why the vegans are joining up with them, trying to censor their opposition.
Yeah, it's the same kind of attitude. They will hijack language. All of a sudden, eating is murder. They completely change what words mean in order to influence young people
And
who
eating
are still.
non-human animals. You think eating non-human animals is okay? All this bullshit.
Yeah, and it's exactly like the transgendered movement. When they hijack the language, basically, and then when you don't speak the language, they want to censor you and put you behind bars because you're misgendering them or you're not using the right whatever.
For sure.
But I think they have to hijack the language in order to brainwash people. Essentially, it's newspeak. That's all that it is.
Language is like the root of, when you look at the occult and magic, it's like you look at symbols and language.
Yeah.
And when you look at symbols and it's when you actually look at what like the actual dark arts, not just like media, which media is dark arts, but a lot of the people that are involved in it, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just repeating the memes. But then there's other people who study it at deeper levels and more subtlety. And Yeah, I mean, you look at like Eliphas Levi and all these old occultists and stuff. It's about words, magic, sigils, images,
Casting
about
spells.
consciousness, about manipulating consciousness. So these people at the top, like, I mean, there is no top, really. That's what people, everyone's like, oh, well, who's doing this? It's got to be this person or that person. No, it's just, this is how darkness works. That's how
Yeah.
evil works. That's how I see it. It's like, there's not like Frank Underwood at the top of the freaking shit pile. It's like, there's a million Frank Underwoods scrambling to the top of the shit pile.
Yeah, it's an amorphous amalgam of just garbage, man. Human fucking
Exactly.
garbage.
So it's like, yeah, these people, they just fall in line. It's like Mike the vegan, like, oh, I'm going to go be a shill for big industry. It's
Yeah.
like, no, he's just dumb enough to be brainwashed into these ideas and repeat them and to think it sounds cool.
Yeah,
You know?
he believes the shit he spews, I suppose. He does.
There was somebody on Twitter who made a tweet to me, and it was interesting. He said, look, I listen to your stream. I agree with a lot of what you say. But there's this rule: you never attribute malice to something that can be explained by stupidity. And he got that quote from like Jordan Peterson or something, and it's an interesting thing, but it's also it's really stupid. So I told, I responded to him basically, well, I don't attribute malice to this stupid comment you just made, but it's like there is a truth to it, right? It's like, yeah, it's not always people are, well, this person's pushing this agenda because
They're bad people. Yeah. No,
It's like even Richard Branson might believe this shit. I don't think Richard Branson really believes it, or Bill Gates. Those guys probably know what's going on, but the people at the lower levels, they think it's real. Like they're into it. This is the revolution. We're fighting the oppressor. We're gonna save the world from itself.
I get
They're
this.
just stupid.
Yeah, I get this attitude a lot too. When I'll call someone dishonest or a liar, and someone will come back to me saying, "Oh no, they really believe what they're saying." And okay, maybe they do, but there's definitely some dishonesty there because they reject anything that contradicts their worldview. They'll completely reject it. They'll call that, they'll put it in the bad category, and they won't listen to any of that. And then they'll just cherry pick the evidence that's so. Yeah, okay, they do believe it, but at the same time, they're very dishonest and they're not open to the truth. So
Well,
there is
that's the thing
definitely
about belief,
malice there.
right? People are dishonest with themselves, right? People don't know what they really believe. They'll confess one belief, but the way they live confesses something totally different.
Well, cognitive dissonance, definitely. Yeah.
And that's why it's like, okay, yeah, don't attribute malice to something that can be explained by stupidity. But these people are so dumb, they haven't even realized yet stupidity is the vehicle through which malice manifests.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and you could be wrong about this or that person individually. But overall, if you're pushing something that's definitely not good, definitely not for everybody, the vegan diet specifically, how good can you really be, honestly? How can you look at all these failed vegans over and over and over again? Every single day, there's a new one making a video complaining about the vegan diet. How do you look at that and just blame them instead of trying to readjust your worldview and accept this new information and adjust? How do you that has to be at least a little bit malicious?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the narrative is you were never really vegan. You just ate a vegan diet because you wanted the health benefits. You don't give a fuck about the bigger movement. You don't really adhere to the ideology. So it's like they take the truth, they mirror reality, right? Like they mirror what's real and what's powerful in their little movements, right? It's like, yeah, it could be true, so you have somebody who infiltrates a movement, you have somebody that tries to join a community, they say they're for a cause, then it turns out they're just pussy turncoats, right? Like that happens. But the vegan movement, the whole thing is all bullshit anyway. So it's like the rhetoric you see, everything you see within it, it's just all these cults, they mimic power. They mimic real truth. And these people that speak for them, they mimic, like it's pathetic games. It's I don't even know. I'm rambling now.
No, I see what you're saying, man. My thing is just like, live and let die, man. Basically, it's just like, clearly, whatever you're spewing, whatever you're pushing, maybe it works for some people. I'm skeptical, but it definitely doesn't work for everybody. And I know, and I know you know it doesn't work for us, and it never will. There's nothing you can do to change that unless you want us to suffer, right? And I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, well, veganism is about reducing the suffering of animals.
Yeah, not the human animal though.
Yeah, well, non-human animals. That's what's important in veganism. See, the thing is, with a vegan diet, I could care less what people eat. I think I would rather all these people eat a bunch of plants and keep the price of meat low.
Yeah.
But that is not what's going on. Veganism is a wedge issue because the world will never be fully vegan, and they know that. So they want to ration out lab-grown meat and cordon off all the rural land for them and their ancestors. I mean, it's a new feudalism that's being rolled in with the global corporate system now. And people think it's just free market. That's what's bringing this about. But this is, like, to me, the issues of veganism, dude, I don't care if you want to eat a vegan diet. Cool. Go evangelize the vegan diet.
Shoot up some heroin,
My family can't eat meat and then we can't have our cattle.
No,
we're going to have problems. And that's what's really happening.
Yeah. I have no love for the vegan agenda, man. But if somebody wants to be plant-based, hey, it's your life. Do whatever the hell you want. You want to snort some yay? Go on ahead. I don't give
Exactly. But then, the free market stuff, because I don't know if you've been, like, at any point into, like, the libertarianism thing.
I mean, I sympathize with a lot of their ideas, but I don't believe in, like, full-on libertarianism, complete and utter freedom for everybody. No, I mean, you got to have some responsibilities too. So I wouldn't say I'm libertarian, even though on many issues, yeah, I am.
Yeah, it's funny because, I forget why I asked that question. Because a lot of people would say, well, if we just had free market and all drugs were legal, everybody could do whatever they want, and it'd be all good. But then it's like, all right, well, what happens when your neighbor puts up a giant billboard of bestiality that your kids can see?
Yeah, no.
That doesn't violate the non-aggression principle. Right. So it's like Jay Dyer brought that up. I think that exact example when he debated Kokesh, when he debated Adam Kokesh, who, dude, he's a vegan now.
Oh God, whatever. No, I mean, you definitely gotta, like, we no longer live in nature, all right? Like, that's long gone. We could have more natural existence, live closer to nature, but those days are gone, man. We're civilized now, so we have to act like it is what it is, like it or hate it. Like, there are some limits on our behavior now, and if we want to live in, like, peaceful communities and agree. But if some people want to establish certain communities where that's okay, yeah, take that somewhere else, go on ahead and do your thing, and I'll support you in that, but I don't want any of that around where I live.
That's the thing about the global community is you have no say.
Exactly.
And that's what they've done with the internet, unfortunately. And the internet's cool. Like, we get to share information. There's a lot of potential, but it's also allowed the dissemination of a monoculture around the globe. And that's kind of what I see as, the enemy is not veganism in general. The veganism is just one wedge issue of this global culture.
Totally.
That is crushing. I mean, it's just one wing of a multi-winged freaking disgusting creature.
Yeah, it's just one thing out of many, and I don't know, you can't fight it all, so I just picked this thing because it hits closest to home for me, and that's why I go against it. But
I wish I never had to say anything about this. My channel would probably be bigger if I just did videos like Thomas DeLauer, just boring freaking 4-minute videos on.
But you might need to put some needles in your ass, though.
You need to. Yeah, true. But yeah, I wish I didn't have to. I wish I didn't feel compelled to talk out about this and to speak about it so much. But
well, let's change gears a little bit then, because I don't know, like, I could do this for a little bit, but then I know it gets a little tiring. Since we're talking about the Lauer and PEDs or whatever and the vegan diet, because I made the statement in the past that, like, you can't build muscle on a vegan diet. Now, don't get me wrong, I think you could build some muscle, but what are your thoughts on this? Because you're into fitness and you were vegan. Like, what do you think about that? Is it really up to who you are, or do you think it's essential to supplement with some?
That's funny because it's like, I mean, on paper, it's, well, why couldn't you build muscle on a vegan diet? You're getting all
Yeah,
the amino acids, you're getting this and that, but the way it seems to pan out in the real world doesn't seem to be working out for a lot of these guys. I mean, you got Patrick Baboumian or whatever, that guy was
he got fat once he went vegan.
real fat, man. But it's like,
Yeah,
well, he's a strong man, so it doesn't matter. You can get fat on meat too. It's like there's all these arguments, but it's like, well, they all seem to get a certain deflation, right? Like, what about Bobby's World?
yeah. I mean, from what I've noticed, he got cut on the vegan diet, but I didn't really see any like serious bulking going on.
Right. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to look back after he starts eating meat again and feeling a little bit better. He'll probably look back at pictures and think, yeah, like I didn't really look well.
Yeah.
Um, you look at some of the pictures when he was like saying he was raw fruitarian and like, oh, I'm building muscle.
On fruit?
Yeah,
That I
I
do
mean, he
not
was, I don't know if he said he's building muscle, but he like a lot of the clips that he put in his intros were him shredded, but it was like this sickly shredded, it's not.
Yeah.
And I like Bobby. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to trash him. I'm just saying the quality of the muscle, it's different, man. You look at these dudes who are like really jacked on steroids, like these freaking Olympia guys. They get these quality of muscle that's just inhuman, right? I mean, they're using inhuman amounts of steroids and all kinds of crap to manipulate their body composition. But like, dude, none of those guys are vegan. None of
No
these
way.
guys at high level bodybuilding. Not a single one of them is vegan. You would think with the popularity and the trendiness, at least one of these guys would have tried that shit and been like, oh, yeah, I'm vegan. I'm in Mr. Olympia. Yeah, I got 8th place or whatever, but I'm still, you don't see that. That's
Yeah.
probably for a reason. I don't think these people are building a lot of quality muscle with plant foods. And you look at anybody past a few years on plant-based diet, they start to get health issues. So I don't think people are going to be building a significant amount of good quality muscle and maintaining it on vegan.
So
Yeah,
there's some potential there. There's potential there, but obviously meat protein is superior, and it also probably depends on how well you assimilate protein from plants.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, it's all hypothetical because we really can't know. I mean, for each individual, we're gonna have different polymorphisms and different inclinations towards different diets and body compositions. But yeah, I just don't see the quality of muscle on a lot of these people claiming to be vegan bodybuilders increasing, improving. You see a deterioration, it seems, and then they end up going back to meat and they're like, yeah, maybe it wasn't the vegan diet, but I started eating meat again. They just leave it.
I just go by like personal experience, and I never stopped eating meat in my life. But I know that once I cut out the plants and I ate a lot more meat, I don't even work out, man. But like I just bulked up naturally with just walking around working. You know what I mean? I don't I don't build muscle to build muscle. Like I just work, and I noticed. Well, I didn't notice. My wife noticed. They're like, "You're just looking bigger all of a sudden. Your biceps are bigger." And I'm like, all I did is I just started eating meat. I didn't even work out. So it's like, for me, I mean, if I were to engage in like muscle building, bodybuilding, whatever, I just can't see myself doing it with like plant protein. It's
No
just
way.
silly.
Well, where you live, what would you have for plant protein?
Beans. I mean, I ate a variety of plants,
Well, think about it. These people here, like,
tubers.
why? How many vegans are there long term among Ecuadorians? Like
Yeah.
actual Ecuadorians, not these dumbass hippies who come through South America on their ayahuasca journeys. Like real Ecuadorians in South America, not some expat boomer who doesn't have kids who treats their dog like it's their child. Um, like real Ecuadorians. I don't think they're vegan. I have never met one.
No, and there might be some like bank teller wannabe model girl in the big city, eating some vegan products because they're healthier, but like full on vegans, I've never met any.
I don't think they really exist in Ecuador, and that's what's so telling. I mean, it's a disease of decadence, veganism. It's like gout. It's like it's this disease only spreads through affluent populations who are pampered and who don't have to move their bodies.
The foods are coming though. You probably don't go shopping a
I
lot in
see
the
soya
supermarket.
stuff and
Yeah,
Supermax. Yeah, man.
there's fake burgers, there's some yogurt, but shit's not selling. Not only is it expensive, like double, triple the price of the real thing, but they also slash the prices over time because it's just not selling.
What do you think about the responsiveness of Ecuadorians to these issues? Like, do you think that they will legitimately stand up for their rights if these vegan abolitionists tried to come? Obviously, granted, it wouldn't be for another 10 years down in Ecuador at least, but in the US, you might see in 5 years them really increasing the rhetoric about the climate crisis. We gotta stop. We can only feed you. We'll ration everything to you. What do you think Ecuadorians would do if that kind of rhetoric started pumping through here?
Honestly, I think Coca-Cola and Crisco will have these people on their knees with diabetes, heart disease, and all these diseases that they didn't have. And what I see them attributing it to already is, well, we no longer have criollo hands, right? We don't raise hands on just corn like we used to. We no longer raise pigs out in the pasture. We feed them all this balanceado, which is concentrate for people listening. I think they're going to be brought down to their knees with disease and this Western malnourishment and these bad inflammatory foods to a point where they'll be ready to accept whatever solution
That's the
the
problem,
major.
right? You get so inflamed and dumbed down, you
Yeah.
can't think about these issues, and you're also historically removed from the ability to be able to see why, right? But here, I don't know, man. I might be I might think it would go the
A
other
lot
way.
of people won't. No, a lot of because they're already noticing that these what did Weston Price call them, foods of commerce or something like that. A lot of people are already noticing that there's a problem because you still have people who live eating their ancestral diet and they're thin, young, muscular, strong. And then you have all these people eating sugar and all these inflammatory plant
Yeah.
oils. And so they see the difference. And those people like to live out in the country. They like to have their own goats or cattle or chickens or whatever. And they do it the right ancestral way. So I think you always have some of that. But I think people in big cities, their metabolisms are going to be destroyed just like it happened in the
They already
Western
are.
world.
I see
Yeah.
them, dude. I like if so I'll go to the sauna at this there's a hosteria nearby there. I'll go to the sauna there and it's just like nice, have a little pool in there. And these Lojanos will come. They same Lojanos come like every week, right? So certain days, if you go on a Sunday, there'll be a
Mhm.
bunch of people there from Loja, all these families, nice people, nice folks, but they're lawyers, they're bankers, they're like, they're the rich city folk.
Yeah. Skinny
And
fat.
yeah, and they're all getting surgeries and stuff. And like this one guy's flying to the US to get his they're getting these constant surgeries. They have gut issues, they have sleep issues, and talk to some of them, kind of help them out, tell them like, go get the red light bulbs from the fucking hardware store and put that in your bedroom. Stop turning the lights on at night, stuff like that. But they're eating the shit, man. They're eating the salchipapas and
Yeah.
um, the French fries.
The garbage. But this is what I mean. Once these people are desperate, they recognize there's a problem. They know it's diet related. And then some, skinny blonde is going to come on the TV and say, I went vegan and look at me and blah, 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 And if that's the message on the TV, they're going to convince a lot of people, in my opinion. And it might backfire eventually, but I think see, the way I see Ecuador, it's like 10, 15, maybe 20 years behind the Western world.
Yeah,
So
but then what did the smartphone do though? The smartphone kind of, I mean, when we first came here, there were no smartphones.
yeah,
It's
it's bad.
accelerating.
It's bad now.
It's accelerating.
They get everything a little bit later, but it's the same pattern. You know what I mean? It's just a few years later, and they're catching up. So we'll see, man. I'm not too hopeful, to be honest. Even though
I go
I
back
do.
and forth between like, nah, these people are these people because they'll lynch. There's lynchings, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Ecuador, justice gets served not by the police, not by the justice system, but it's like shit goes down in your town. Someone's hanging from a light post.
Yeah.
Someone gets caught stealing. They're buried in a backyard. It's like there's not stuff. So I don't know. That's what's hopeful for me is the rural people here still stand up for what's for certain things. But yeah, the brainwashing is the hard part to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's getting internet, right? Everyone has a TV, and you've probably being like in restaurants, I don't know, out and about. You've seen some of this Ecuadorian TV, and it's absolute garbage, man.
It's from it's Carlos Slim TV. You know,
Yeah, it's crap.
it's so you know Carlos Slim owns Claro.
Is that the cigarette guy? Wait, who is that?
Carlos Slim is the richest man in the world. He's a drug kingpin out of Mexico who
Mm,
owns the telecommunication systems of South and Central and Central America and Mexico. He's a badass. Carlos Slim is like he he calls Obama and tells him good boy. You know.
damn. Yeah, so go figure. I mean, we'll see, but I'm not the trends that I'm seeing, even though they're not really catching on, some of them, like the vegan diet, they're definitely trying, like what corporation comes to this country where there's no demand for any of this shit and puts their shit on the shelves at double, triple the price, and they're trying to force feed a market. They're trying to create a market. It doesn't exist. Why are you here? Right? They're trying to create it, and if there's enough money behind it, they may succeed, at least to a degree.
Yeah, you put them on the shelves, you eat shit for a few years, and you get the brand image out, right? So you make a big investment initially for marketing, and it doesn't come back necessarily immediately. And anybody in business knows this. So you invest a heavy load. You breach through the market, and you eat shit for a few years, and then eventually the trends catch
That
up.
tipping point, yeah.
In the US, they did the same thing. It's like you think people want the Impossible Burger? You think people want what's it called? The other one, Beyond Burger? No way, man. They're paying Wu-Tang to freaking make it hip. They're paying, they pay YouTube channels to make videos. They pay Forbes magazine to, it's the way that the media works now. It's very scientific. Like people, they know how to do it, and
Yeah,
advertisement is a science.
I saw a survey, and granted, it was only like 500 people or something like that, but they did a survey for like New Year's resolutions, asking people what diet they're going to try in the new year. And keto, carnivore were basically, like, I want to say around 40% of the diets that people were going to try. And there was a bunch of other stuff like South Beach diet. All of them included meat, but the vegan diet was only about 2%, 5% responders said that they would, try the vegan diet. So it isn't as big as they make it seem. Definitely, it's
No,
not.
but my point that I was trying to make earlier, though, it's like,
They're trying to blow it up.
yeah, it's like, dude, no, the people who are really propagandizing this understand that the whole world will never be vegan. And that's what the vegans are like, oh, you're so dumb. There's no way that this is like, a bigger plot by, the global corporate controllers to make us all vegan. They know that it's like people will go vegan. Yeah, that's so true. The whole world can never be vegan, but the whole world can be pushed in that direction towards the processed food and towards the lab grown meat. The lab grown meat and the ectogenetic births and it's like that's the real end game. It's not just, oh, everyone's going to eat vegan and grow local vegetables. No, they know you need
Demonizing animal agriculture.
they want to eliminate animal agriculture and give you lab grown meat and have no rural people, pesky rural tribes, to interrupt the flow of commerce
Yeah.
to the cities.
So you can't produce your own food anymore, and you're just dependent on all these factories, basically. So it's ridiculous.
Centralized means of production, but this will be done in the name of equality as well. So it's that's how it ties in. It's a Maoist style. It's a Marxist.
Can you imagine the power? You could cause global famine with like a push of a button. Oh,
You
sorry,
can-
no food delivery.
well, imagine if you have AI that knows everybody's linguistic inclinations. You're mapping people's consciousness in certain ways. They're using AI. And by AI, they talk about AI like it's this real thing. AI is just programmed algorithms that
Yeah.
perform tasks on the behalf of human beings.
Mhm.
If you have these tasks constantly running, you have files on everybody, you can just start deciding, well, this person is not very useful to society, and this person is a dissident. This person has ideas that we don't want around. Anybody that associates with them should possibly also be, taken down a notch. So I mean, you could start breeding the entire population. Like you could start selective breeding everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, you could put shit in their food. I don't mean to take this like way far, but you can start experimenting on people by putting various things in their food, just like
Yeah,
they
you don't have to tell them like in THX 1138. You don't have to tell them
right.
you need to take your pill because you're getting too fertile and your testosterone is rising. If you have, somebody's wearing an Apple Watch and you can just make modifications to people biologically without them ever knowing it.
Yeah,
Because all food
total control.
Yeah, that's why in Blade Runner, in the smart city in Blade Runner, where does the food come from? The food pops out of the wall that his AI girlfriend gives him. And he loves her and he has sex with her. The AI goes and selects him a prostitute to sleep with. Have you seen the new Blade Runner? It's
No, but it sounds like Japan, bro.
dude, it's insane. The new Blade Runner film is the most horrific movie ever made.
I lost interest in Hollywood many years ago. It's depressing, but
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what is possible with these systems, and that's why I think it's important that people think about these things. And it's like when you're accepting ideas like lab grown meat, you got to understand what's coming along with that. Who's making that lab grown meat, and who's going to control all the production of that lab grown meat?
And that shit can't be healthful, man. It's just like it's a supplement. It just seems like another supplement. Get out of here with that. If you think meat is bad, then why is this good all of a sudden? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess I'm pushing the nature fallacy. You know what I mean? That's the
Appeal to
problem.
nature fallacy. Yeah.
Oh God, fallacy.
Yeah, but that's funny. Isn't that a funny argument? The appeal to nature fallacy, right? But then they
ask them to define nature.
Yeah.
What is natural?
Where does nature end and man begin?
Exactly.
It's like there's the whole vegan. They have like the same cosmology as like neo-pagans, like who like want to go back to nature, but they can know what nature is. Like, what is nature?
And nature fallacy applies in a lot of instances, but it's not foolproof, basically. And you could look this up. I've looked into it. It's not considered foolproof. So there are contexts where what's natural is good, obviously, but like, for example, diet. I mean, you don't see people putting gorillas in the zoo and saying to themselves, can we tweak their diet a little bit, see if we could better it? No, they try to
genetically create this mutant creature out of a human and a pig. Oh, well, we probably shouldn't do that. Let's not mess with nature. Appeal to nature fallacy.
Totally. Yeah. No, like every scientist knows that you have to feed this animal whatever it eats in the wild. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems because they've done it and they found out that if we feed gorillas these biscuits, then we got to give them colonoscopies in 5 years. You know what I mean? Like they can't handle this stuff. You got to feed them their natural diet. Why should humans be different? Like this is omnipresent truth when it comes to all animal species. We know this. There is no dispute in science. If you are a carnivore, you need to eat this diet or you will have problems. Now, when it comes to humans, though, nature fallacy.
Their use of fallacies, their logical fallacy, their use of logical fallacies in the vegan argumentation amongst these debaters is totally fallacious.
It's a fallacy. That's what it is. It's a fallacy.
They got fallacy. The internet, man. It's given every single dummy. Like it's like every dummy has the same script now, and they're able to posture in a certain way to try to sound right. That's why I'm kind of black-pilled on the whole debating on the internet thing with a lot of people, because the level of dumbed down, like the language has been so retarded. So the appeal to nature fallacy, or they'll say, "Oh, well, that's a straw man." Well, you're like, you can say something, you can make an argument, and then tell somebody that they are an idiot. Your argument is not negated by you at the end of your argument telling them, but you won't understand this, or you will pretend to not understand this because you're an idiot and you're an ideologue. They'll say, well, that's a straw man. No, that's not my argument. That's tacked on at the end because I'm sick of you and I want to tell you you're an idiot.
I'm just insulting you.
Not straw man, rather a, what's it called? Ad
hominem, yeah.
Ad hom. It's ad hom, bro.
No, just because you call someone a name doesn't mean that's an ad hominem. It has to be central part of your argument, right?
If you say we shouldn't listen to you because you're a dummy, right? Or your argument is invalid because you believe this,
or you say like we shouldn't listen to what Ivor Cummings has to say about cholesterol because he's sponsored by the fast food industry. That's an ad hominem too. It's like you have to judge the message for what it is. It doesn't matter who pays the bills. Like, I mean, it could, but that's not an argument.
Do they say that Cummings is somebody tried to say he's sponsored by fast food?
Yeah, this one guy, I don't even want to give him a shout out, but this vegan channel made this video and he had this eureka moment because the guy that Cummings is sponsored by, he had his own personal, heart issues. So he fixed his diet. He learned that keto is the way, at least for him, and he wants to promote that. And he's paying Ivor Cummings research basically into cholesterol and all that. But that guy also provides fast food with all the tools they need to make the food, all the appliances, which is
all right. So somebody on this guy's Patreon has a job that
no, not Patreon. He's sponsored by this guy directly. That's the guy that hires him, which is. But okay, my argument for that is okay, he's supplying the fast food industry, but the fast food industry, like McDonald's, that's now offering vegan options, right, or promising to, they're going to adapt to whatever the people choose to eat. It doesn't matter what diet the people choose to eat. The industry is going to adapt. So no matter what food you're cooking up, whether it's healthy or it's garbage, that guy's never going to go out of business because they will always need these appliances anyway. So
this is the point I'm always trying to make. There is no meat industry. There is no big meat because you have industrial agriculture and it's all based on grain products. Tyson, General Mills, like all these companies all purchase seeds from Cargill and Monsanto. They're buying they're patented seeds, and it's a consolidated system in which even the meat now is fed the grain. All they want to do is remove the meat because the cows do have to be grazed by rural people for 90% of their life. So they want to cut out the need to even have rural populations. They don't want a peasantry. They only want cities.
They don't give a shit what's for dinner as long as they have a fucking seat at the dinner table. Basically, they don't give a damn.
The people who own these big corporations, they don't care about selling meat. They just want to consolidate the entire flow of energy into their little system so that they have control of it. I mean, it's basic economics. It's not like this is some giant hidden agenda. It's out in the open. And people are like, oh, dude, like, no.
But even if that were the case and this guy had some sinister motives, well, judge him by the content of his information. Look at the research. And if he's bullshit, well, then it should be easy to debunk that. No, he can't attack the information because the information is legit. So he has to, take the back door and backstab the guy, basically. It's an ad hominem. That was my only point. That's a true ad hominem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
That kid's just got home. I heard him pull up in the cab. They probably saw your wife at the market.
Totally. I'm hearing some serious egg-laying action going on there in the background, too.
You hear the hens?
Yeah, the egg song, we call it.
Yeah. The rooster is not very friendly to Ariana. She's got a funny relationship with him.
Because she grabs the hens, probably, and he's like, hey, that's my bitch.
The hens walk up to our house. The hens are so dumb. They're trying to, like, walk into our dogs' mouths.
Oh,
they try to walk up to the doors. They're retards.
Yeah, but they're sentient, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, well, they're the same. Like RZA said that we're all the same. Chickens, rats, me, you. They even put a rat in that video, that PETA video with RZA. They showed a human morphing into a rat as RZA goes, "We are all the same."
Oh, God. I used to respect Wu-Tang, but...
I know, right? So sad. RZA did have some sick beats back in the day.
Yeah.
I used to like RZA's RZA used to have some really good verses too, because he would throw some real stuff in every once in a while. He's actually knew a lot of what was going on, but I think he's just too dumb now to really see. If you call someone a genius, and somebody who's puffed up with pride, if you call them a genius and then offer them some money for doing some shit, they'll eat it up.
You know what it is? Like when they were smoking Brick Pack, and then they were woke, right? But now that they're smoking this super duper government hydro, they're just dumb the fuck down, man.
Dude, I saw Ice Cube video yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Ice Cube Funkadelic video?
No, man, I stay away from that shit.
I haven't watched like any new shit in so long, but it popped up for some reason. Probably because I watch Nature Boy videos. They recommended Ice Cube Funkadelic song, and it was like, it was weird, man. He did this verse, and it's like, I heard weed is legal. I forget what it was, just a really dumb rhyme. I heard weed is legal. Now you grow that shit, feed your people. And he repeated it like 20 times. And they were just showing, like the weed leaf, psychedelic morphine in front of this chick. And then like she opens her mouth and it drops in. It was this like kind of ink blot filter. It was weird, but it was some programming for sure, man. It was like major, more of the smoke more weed, you guys.
Yeah, just repeating the same shit over and over. And I mean, you could accuse Bob Marley of the same nonsense too, even though he was still very much pushing the right message at the same time. But this whole like selling drugs to the people, I mean, that happened in the 60s and 70s. That was all planned. I mean, fuck it. I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Well, there's probably like a few people listening too,
Yeah.
It's nice doing chats with you because you can just talk about anything, right? A lot of people, they've got niches that they'll talk about and they don't really.
I'm a jack of all trades, master of nothing.
Yeah, I'm a jack off all trades too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, maybe on that note we should cut this short. I didn't really even intend to be online this long, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else you want to?
No, that was good talk, man. It was fun.
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much for coming through, man. Bart I'm not gonna say he flaked. It was a miscommunication on our part. So thanks for filling
Bart
in.
he's when you come late to a party and like if you're the first person at the party and you're waiting,
Yeah.
no, you're probably not that fun to be around, right?
Yeah.
You show up a little late, it's already popping. Walk in, you got your fucking background music. That's how Bart rolls. He wants to show up a little late to the party.
When the crowd's already there.
He's carefully engineering the image with his tardiness.
Oh, Bart's not stupid. Bart's not stupid.
He's
No.
not a stupid guy. He's fun.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy to talk to. But yeah, man, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
Fill in for Bart.
And thanks to everybody who showed up. This will happen again at some point.
Chat doing. Usually when I do these streams, I'll look at the chat as I'm going, just because it's interesting. You got a bunch of people in the chat. You got 122 people listening.
Right on. Well, if you ever find yourself in a hole where somebody stands you up, if I'm available, I'll be glad to step on for a few minutes and
Yeah. Well, this is a good time too because they go to the market in the morning, and I know
totally. Yeah.
Saturday morning is a good time. It's all quiet here. They just got back. You probably hear them rustling around the background.
Yeah, it's same here. That's why I do it at this point in time because I have my peace basically.
Yeah. Jessica says you're celebrating as soon as your wife leaves.
Yes, we have there's a party over here.
Yeah. All right, dude. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thanks
I'm
for
out.
coming through. Take it easy.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for coming through this impromptu hangout. Was glad to have Tristan on, and yeah, we'll do it again some other time. So have a great weekend, everybody, and catch you on the next one.